Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My name is Terrell Hayes. I am 35 years old, and the day my marriage truly ended was the day my wife looked me in my eyes and said, with a straight face, "My family always comes first. You are second." I remember the way her voice did not even shake, how sure she sounded, like she was explaining a simple math fact. I replied, "Good to know," and something in me clicked into place. I did not yell. I did not throw anything. I just shifted, quietly. In that moment, I moved myself to first place in my own life. Separate finances, separate plans, separate future. I did not announce it. I just started acting like it. Jasmine and I had been married for 5 years. We met in college, reconnected later at a friend's barbecue, and married after 2 years of dating. On paper, we were that couple who had it together. Good jobs, a house in a quiet neighborhood in North Carolina, decent cars, no children yet, but talking about it. The problem was never between just the two of us. The problem was her family. Her mother, Denise, had a key to our house and used it like it was her own front door. Her brother Tyrone treated our garage as his personal storage unit. Her sister Keisha would show up with bags of clothes for her kids and leave them for a while. That turned into months. Family dinners were not invitations. They were obligations. Sunday, 6 o'clock, we are all going to Mom and Dad's, Jasmine would say, like it was a law written in stone. At first, I thought it was sweet. I grew up with a pretty close family myself, but nothing like theirs. They were loud, always in each other's business, constantly calling, constantly visiting. It seemed warm, like those television families who all live within 20 minutes of one another and show up for every small thing. I told myself, big family, close-knit, that is nice. They are always there for each other. It took me about a year to realize that always there for each other actually meant always there to take from whoever has the most at that moment. And that person, more often than not, turned out to be me. The first big ask came from Tyrone. He had this business opportunity, some vague plan involving a used car lot he wanted to buy into with a friend. He needed $3,000 just to get started and promised to pay it back in 3 months. Jasmine sat next to me on the couch, eyes wide, hand on my knee, while she explained how much it meant to her for us to help him. "He is really trying to turn his life around. Terrell," she said. "He finally has a real chance." I did not know him well then. I wanted to be supportive. I wrote the check. 3 months came and went. No payment. No car lot. Just another story about how the deal fell through and another promise of, "I will get you back when things pick up." Things never picked up. Then it was Keisha. She and her husband Rodney had fallen behind on rent. Just this once, Jasmine said, almost whispering, like saying it softly would make it more reasonable. "They have 2 kids. They are really struggling. They will pay us back when they can." That, just once, turned into 4 straight months of rent payments. Every time I asked when we would see any of it come back, Jasmine would say, "They're doing their best. We cannot put more pressure on them." But there was never any pressure on them. The pressure was always on us, on me, to keep fixing the situation they created. Her parents, Denise and Leon, were not any better. Their air conditioning unit broke one August, right at the peak of the heat. Jasmine came home from visiting them, red in the face and distressed. "They're sitting in that hothouse, Terrell. You know my dad's blood pressure is high. They cannot live like that. They got a quote for a new system. It is expensive." She looked at me like the answer was obvious. Somehow, that became our responsibility. We paid for the new air conditioning unit. When I suggested they could get a payment plan or a small loan themselves, Jasmine said they are older. It is harder for them. We are in a better position. What she meant was, you are in a better position, Terrell, so you can shoulder it. Every time I pushed back, even a little, the script was the same. "But their family," Jasmine would say, as if that explained everything, like being related gave them unlimited access to our finances, my time, my energy. If I said, "We cannot keep doing this," she would say, "You do not understand how my family is. We take care of each other. We always have." If I asked why no one ever paid us back, she would say, "Money is just money. We'll be fine." What she meant was, we will be fine as long as you keep paying. I kept telling myself it would get better, that maybe we were just going through a rough patch, that eventually they would stop asking or pay something back, or at least show some appreciation. You know how it is when you are in it. You make excuses. You tell yourself you are being dramatic. You convince yourself you are overreacting. Every time I felt that knot in my stomach when another emergency text came through, I would swallow it down and say yes one more time. I did not want to be the bad guy. I did not want Jasmine to think I did not care about her family. I am not here to talk about every single time they used me like a bank, even though my lawyer later put it all on a spreadsheet. I am here to talk about my birthday trip, the moment everything snapped into focus. Jasmine and I had planned this coastal vacation for months. We had picked a nice hotel right on the beach in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I had already taken time off from work and paid for the hotel. I was actually excited, not just about the ocean or the food, but about the idea of being alone with my wife, away from all the family drama. For once, it was going to be about us. The morning everything changed, I was in the kitchen making coffee. Jasmine was leaning against the counter, scrolling on her phone. My suitcase sat half-packed in the bedroom, shirts folded neatly, passport and wallet ready to go. The sun was shining through the window, and, for the first time in a while, I felt light. Then Jasmine's phone buzzed. I only half listened at first. It was her mother, I assumed, based on the ringtone she used just for her. "Hey, Mama," Jasmine said. Her voice shifted into that soft, worried tone I had heard too many times. There was a pause and then, "What? When? You cannot be serious." My hand slowed over the coffee mug, my senses sharpening. I heard, "Of course we will help. I will cancel our trip." She said it easily, like she was saying, "I will go to the store later." No hesitation, no discussion. My stomach turned to ice. "Hold on," I said, my voice cutting across the kitchen. Jasmine turned her head, annoyed that I interrupted her. I walked closer. "We are not canceling," I said firmly. She put her hand over the phone speaker and stared at me like I had just spoken a foreign language. "My brother needs us," she said. "Your brother needs what?" I asked. She whispered, "He needs someone to co-sign a loan. $8,000. They are going to deny him unless someone signs with him. It is serious, Terrell. He has to get this taken care of. Your brother needs a co-signer for a loan he will default on," I said. "That is not our problem." Her face changed. I had seen that look before, but never fully acknowledged it. It was pure disbelief that I would dare question a family decision. Her eyes narrowed. "We are helping him," Jasmine said. "The trip can wait. It is just a trip. This is real life." I felt something flare up in my chest. I had been waiting for this trip for months. I had been paying for her family's real life for years. "No," I said again, more clearly. She blinked, as if trying to clear her hearing. "What do you mean, no?" Jasmine asked. I said slowly, "We are not canceling, and we are not co-signing. I am done funding your family's disasters. I am done putting our lives on hold every time someone makes a bad decision." Her eyes filled with anger. She took her hand off the phone and said to her mother, "I will call you back," then ended the call without saying goodbye. She turned to me fully now, arms crossed. "Why are you being like this?" Jasmine asked. "He is my brother, and I am your husband," I said, "which apparently means nothing to you when your family wants something." She shook her head. "That is not fair." "You are right," I said. "What is not fair is me being an ATM for people who have never paid back a single loan. What is not fair is canceling our plans every time someone in your family snaps their fingers." Jasmine lifted her chin. There was a moment, a heartbeat where I thought maybe she would meet me halfway. Instead, she said the words that would rearrange my entire life. "My family always comes first," Jasmine said. "That is just how it is. You come second. You knew this when you married me." It was like the air got sucked out of the room. The refrigerator hummed in the background. A car drove past outside. Inside my chest, something that had been bending for years finally broke. "Say that again," I said quietly. Part of me wanted to be sure I had heard her correctly. Part of me wanted her to take it back. She did not. "My family comes first," she repeated. "You are second. That is just reality. Family is forever." But she did not finish the sentence. She did not have to. I heard the rest anyway. "But you are replaceable." Message received. "Good to know," I said again, but this time it was calm and final. "So, you understand?" Jasmine asked, searching my face. "We will help him." "No," I said. "But thank you for the clarity." I walked out of the kitchen. She followed me down the hallway, her voice rising. Where are you going? Jasmine demanded. To pack for my birthday trip, I said. You can stay here and help your family. I am going. You cannot just go without me, Jasmine said, her voice cracking. Sure I can, I said, pulling my suitcase onto the bed. You made your choice. I'm making mine. She put her hand on my arm. Terrell, be serious. This is bigger than a vacation. You're being selfish. I pulled my arm away. For 5 years, I said, I have been the one giving, always sacrificing, while your family treats our life like a backup checking account. If saying no to that is selfish, then I guess I am selfish. Jasmine started to cry, the kind of tears that had always softened me before. You do not understand what it means to have a family like mine, she said. We show up for each other. We do not turn our backs when things get hard. Showing up for each other should not mean draining one person dry, I said. You want to help them? Help them. Use your money. Take out a loan yourself. I am done. I zipped my suitcase closed. The sound felt like slamming a door. I took that trip. I went to Myrtle Beach by myself. On the way to the airport, I called my friend Ronald, who lived a couple of hours away. Hey, Ron, what are you doing this weekend? I asked. Nothing much, why? He said. You want to go to the beach? I asked. There was a pause. Then he laughed. Are you serious? You know I'm always down for a beach. He booked a last-minute ticket. When I told him Jasmine had stayed behind, I gave him the cleaned-up version at first. By the second night, when we sat on the balcony with drinks in our hands, listening to the ocean, I told him everything. Man, Ronald said, shaking his head after I finished. That is a lot. You think I am wrong? I asked. No, he said. I think you have been getting used for a long time, and you finally hit your limit. If she really believes you are second to her family, you are not in a marriage, Terrell. You are in some kind of lopsided arrangement where you are the provider and they're the priority. That is not sustainable. His words sank in slowly. I had thought them myself, but hearing someone else say it made it feel more real. We had a great time on that trip. We swam, ate good food, walked on the pier at night. I posted pictures, not to be petty, but because I was tired of shrinking my life to make room for Jasmine's family's crises. She called me about 15 times in the first 2 days. I did not answer. I did not delete the calls either. I just let them sit there like evidence. Evidence of how much she expected me to come running. When I came back home, the house felt different. Jasmine sat at the dining table, eyes red, dark circles under them. So, you really went, she said. Yes, I replied, putting my suitcase by the door. You left me here dealing with everything alone, she said. You chose to cancel our trip so you could co-sign your brother's loan, I said. I chose something else. She shook her head slowly, as if she did not recognize the man standing in front of her. What she did not know was that while I was away, I had done a lot of thinking, and when I got back, I had plans. We had always kept separate bank accounts, but I had covered about 70% of our household expenses because I earned more. Every time Jasmine's funds were tight because of a family emergency, I would make up the difference. That was over. I went to the bank. I set up a new checking account that she did not have access to. I changed my direct deposit. I sat down with a calculator and a stack of bills and figured out exactly 50% of every expense. Mortgage, utilities, internet, groceries, everything. That was what I would pay. Not a penny more. A couple of weeks later, Jasmine's credit card was declined to the grocery store. She came home furious, grocery bags half full, hair frizzed from the heat outside. She found me in the small room I had started using as a makeshift office. My card does not work, she said, tossing it on the desk in front of me. Correct, I said. I canceled it. Her eyes widened. You cannot just cancel my card, she said. It was not your card, I replied. It was my card. You were an authorized user. You are not anymore. How am I supposed to pay for things? Jasmine asked. With your money, I said calmly. The same way I pay for things with my money. She stared at me like I had slapped her. We are married, she said. We are supposed to share. You made it very clear we are not a partnership, I said. You told me I am second to your family. So, I'm acting like I'm second. You handle your priorities. I will handle mine. You are punishing me, Jasmine said. No, I answered. I am matching your energy. She let out a harsh laugh. This is insane, she said. You are being so cold. Do you even love me? I do not know how to answer that anymore, I said. I know I am done loving this version of our marriage, where I exist to provide and your family gets to make all the rules. She went to her parents' house that night. I watched her drive away with a strange sense of calm. While she was gone, I made another decision. I turned the spare bedroom, formerly a messy craft room full of Jasmine's sewing projects and half-finished decorations, into a real office for myself. I boxed up her fabric and supplies, labeled everything, and stored it neatly in the garage, ironically right where her brother used to leave his junk. I bought a simple desk, a comfortable chair, and a lamp. I set up my computer and a bookshelf. For the first time since we bought the house, there was a room that felt like it was mine, just mine. When Jasmine came back a few days later and saw the change, she stopped in the hallway. "What did you do to my room?" she asked. "I got myself an office," I said, not looking up from my laptop. "I needed a space that is mine." "That was my craft room," she said. "Was it?" I asked. "We pay the mortgage together now. This is my house too. I am using my space." She stood there, speechless for a moment, then turned away. After that, we spoke less and less. I started doing my own thing more intentionally. I signed up for a woodworking class at a community center, something I had always wanted to try. I joined a local softball league that played on weeknights. I started going to the gym regularly. When Jasmine asked, "Where are you going?" I would answer, "Out," and leave it at that. She hated that. She was used to me telling her exactly where I was going and when I would be back. She was used to my schedule bending around her family's needs. Sunday family dinners at her parents' house became optional for me, then non-existent. Every week, Jasmine would ask, "You are coming to my parents tonight, right?" Every week, I said, "No, why not?" She would ask, each time more sharply. "I have plans," I said. "What plans?" she demanded. "Plans," I repeated. "It is my day off too, Jasmine." It drove her crazy. Her parents called her, asking why I was not coming, and she would relay their questions to me, as if that alone should move me. It did not. The real emergency hit on a Tuesday evening. I came home from work, dropped my keys in the bowl by the door, and immediately felt the tension in the air. Jasmine was on the couch, eyes puffy. Her parents, Denise and Leon, were standing in the living room. Keisha was there, arms folded tightly across her chest. Tyrone sat hunched on the edge of a chair, staring at the floor, his face bruised and swollen. It looked like someone had worked him over. My first thought was, this is not good. My second thought was, whatever this is, they are about to try to make it my responsibility. "We need your help," Leon said, stepping forward. No greeting, no small talk. I said, just straight to the ask. Leon's jaw tensed. "This is serious," he said. "Tyrone owes some dangerous people money. $35,000. They're not playing games. We need $35,000 by the end of the week." I looked at each of them, taking in their expressions. Denise's tears, Keisha's panic, Tyrone's shame. "That is rough," I said. "I'm sorry to hear that." Leon's eyes narrowed. "We need you to help us," he repeated. "Why would I do that?" I asked. Silence dropped over the room. Denise's voice rose, shrill with outrage. "Because he is family," she said. "He is your family." "He is not my family," I said. "He is your family. And according to Jasmine, I am not actually part of your family anyway. Remember? I am second." Jasmine stepped closer to me. "Terrell, please," she said, her hand reaching for mine. They could really hurt him. He probably should have thought about that before gambling $35,000 he does not have, I said. Tyrone finally spoke. His voice was hoarse. "Dude, these guys are serious," he said. "They already jumped me once. They said next time it will be worse." "Then sell your truck," I said. "That thing is worth at least 15 grand. Sell it." "I need that for work," he said quickly. "And I need my money for my priorities," I said. "You made your choices, Tyrone. Deal with the consequences." Leon took a step closer, his shoulders squared. "What kind of man abandons family in a crisis?" he asked. "The kind of man," I said, "who is told he is second place. The kind of man who spent 5 years being treated like a walking ATM. That kind." Leon's nostrils flared. "We took you in," he said. "We treated you like a son." I laughed, genuinely laughed. "No," I said. "You treated me like a bank. There is a big difference." Denise started sobbing louder. "Please," she said. "We are begging you. He could die. You probably should have parented better," I said before I could stop myself. Jasmine's face went pale. How can you be so heartless? She asked. It is easy, I said. I learned from watching your family. For 5 years, you have made it crystal clear that I do not matter to you beyond what I can provide. I am done. Jasmine's voice dropped to a cold whisper. If you do not help, she said, I will divorce you. The room stilled. Denise gasped. Keisha's eyes went wide. Leon looked like he was waiting for my surrender. I looked at Jasmine for a long moment, remembering every time I had stepped in to fix one of their emergencies, every vacation canceled, every plan postponed. Okay, I said. Jasmine blinked. What? She asked. Go ahead and divorce me, I said. Save me the trouble of filing myself. That was when Keisha started yelling, calling me every name she could think of. Denise joined in, her voice rising even higher. Leon stepped even closer, his hands balled into fists. Get out of my house, I said calmly. All of you. Now. Keisha snapped. This is her house, too. No, I said. My name is on the mortgage. This is my house. Get out, or I'm calling the police. They glared at me, but they left, dragging Jasmine with them. She did not look back. The front door closed behind them with a solid thud. The house was suddenly, blessedly quiet. Jasmine did not come home that night, or the next. I slept in our bed alone and woke up feeling lighter, which surprised me. Through a mutual friend named Carla, I found out what was happening on their side. They managed to scrape together about $20,000. Leon and Denise took a loan against their house. Keisha pawned her wedding ring. Tyrone finally sold his truck. They were still $15,000 short. Whoever he owed gave him an extension and started charging heavy interest. And somehow, in their minds, all of it was my fault. The harassment started almost immediately. Leon showed up at my office one afternoon. Somehow, he got past the front desk and into the open area where my coworkers sat. He walked straight up to my desk, pointing a finger at me. You are a coward, he shouted. You abandoned your family. What kind of man lets people suffer like this? Every head in the area turned. My supervisor, Mr. Coleman, rushed out of his office. Security followed close behind. Leon kept yelling about karma and what kind of man I was until security physically escorted him out. His voice echoed down the hallway long after he was gone. Mr. Coleman called me into his office afterward. What was that? He asked, rubbing his temples. I told him everything. The gambling, the debt, the threat of divorce, the harassment. He listened, shaking his head. Terrell, I am sorry you're going through this, he said. But we cannot have scenes like that here again. If this continues, it will become a problem for you at work. Understood, I said. I am working on it. I left his office feeling exposed and humiliated. Denise launched a phone campaign. She called my mother, my father, my older sister, cousins I had not spoken to in years. She told them I was heartless, that I refused to help the family in a crisis, that I had abandoned Jasmine. My mother called me, worried. What is going on? She asked. Denise said there was some kind of emergency, and you refused to help. She is leaving some details out, I said. Tyrone has $35,000 in gambling debt to dangerous people. They wanted me to pay all of it. There was a pause. Oh, my mother said. That is different. Good for you, baby. Do not let them bully you. Most of my family reacted the same way once they heard the full story. They were shocked I had gone along with it for as long as I had. Someone keyed my car. Deep, careful scratches down the side. Not a random act, but deliberate damage. I was 90% sure it was Tyrone, but I could not prove it. I filed a police report anyway, took pictures, sent them to my lawyer once I hired one. The damage cost $800 to fix. You should consider this harassment pattern in your documentation, my lawyer, Paula Green, told me. This is not just family drama anymore. This is targeted behavior. Jasmine's sister Keisha showed up at my softball game one evening. She waited until the game ended, then approached me in the parking lot, hands on her hips. You know they beat him up again, right? She said. They broke 2 of his ribs. That is on you. No, I said. That is on him for gambling. You could have prevented it, she said. He could have prevented it by not being reckless. I replied. You are a sociopath, Keisha said. You have no empathy. And you are enabling a gambling addict, I said. We all have our flaws. She cursed at me for a while longer, then got in her car and drove off, tires squealing. The dirtiest move came through my job again. Someone filed an anonymous complaint with Human Resources. They claimed I had been making threatening comments about family members and showing unstable behavior. HR called me in. The representative, Ms. Alvarez, looked uncomfortable. "We received a complaint," she said. "We are required to investigate." I sat there and listened to her read the allegations, my jaw clenched. "None of that is true," I said. "I believe you," she said, "but we still need you to provide a written statement." I ended up writing a detailed account of the situation, documenting the harassment from Jasmine's family. It was humiliating, laying out my private life for HR. "This needs to stop," Mr. Coleman said after HR briefed him, his tone sympathetic but firm. "I understand this is messy, but if your personal situation continues to spill into the workplace, we're going to have an issue." "I'm documenting everything," I said. "I'm taking legal steps." I started saving every message, every missed call, every voicemail. I put screenshots and photos into a folder on my computer. I was not about to let them spin a story where I was the villain without evidence to the contrary. Jasmine finally called me herself after weeks of silence. I almost did not answer, but curiosity got the best of me. "We need to talk," she said quietly. "About what?" I asked. "About us," she said. "About fixing this." "There is nothing to fix," I replied. "You made your choice. I made mine. We are done. Do I not at least deserve a conversation?" Jasmine asked. "You told me I'm second to your family," I said. "You expected me to fund your brother's gambling debts. We had the only conversation that matters." "I did not mean it like that," she said. "You did," I replied. "And it is fine. You are allowed to choose your family. But I am allowed to choose myself." "Please," Jasmine said. "Can we just talk face to face? Just once. No yelling, no one else. Just us." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop downtown. I told myself it would give me closure. When I walked into the cafe, I saw Jasmine sitting at a corner table, and her mother, Denise, sitting right beside her. My stomach dropped. "You said it would be just you," I said. "She is here because you will not listen to reason," Denise said immediately. Jasmine tried to smile at me, eyes wet. "Please sit," she said. I stood there for a moment, feeling the eyes of other customers flick toward us. "I came to talk to my wife," I said, "not to be ambushed by her mother." "This is a family matter," Denise said. "I am family." "No," I said. "This is a matter between spouses." And the last time we talked about family, Jasmine made it clear where I stand. Jasmine reached for my hand. "Just listen," she said. "We are drowning, Terrell. My parents are in danger of losing their home. Tyrone is hiding. We are all suffering. You could stop this." "I did not cause it," I said. "Your brother gambled away $35,000. Your parents took out loans they cannot afford to cover it. Keisha pawned her wedding ring. All of that was their choice. You cannot drag me into this and call it reason." Denise's face turned red. "We raised you," she said, voice rising despite herself. "We fed you, welcomed you at our table, treated you like a son. You used me," I said. "There is a difference. You treated me like a bottomless resource, not a person." The barista looked over, nervous. I shook my head. "I am done," I said to Jasmine. "Whatever you decide about the divorce, just send the papers. I will sign them. But I am not having this conversation again." I walked out. I blocked both of their numbers in the parking lot. The divorce papers came a week later. Jasmine's attorney, a man named Harding, sent them to my lawyer's office. The demands were ridiculous. Jasmine wanted half the house. Fine, that was standard in our state. She wanted half my retirement account. Again, standard. But she also wanted me to pay all her legal fees because, according to her, the divorce was caused by my financial abandonment. On top of that, she wanted $10,000 in compensation for emotional distress. My lawyer, Paula, actually laughed when she read that part. "They cannot be serious," she said. "Oh, they are," I replied. "They have been serious about my money from day one." "We will counter," Paula said. "We will keep everything within the normal guidelines, split the house, divide retirement accounts according to law. Each party pays their own legal fees. There is no argument for alimony here." "They may try," I said. "Let them," Paula said. "We have documentation." The back and forth started. Harding tried to frame me as an abusive partner who had suddenly withdrawn financial support. Paula responded with bank statements, text messages, and timelines that told a very different story. Meanwhile, Jasmine's family situation kept deteriorating. Through Carla, I heard that Leon and Denise were months behind on their new loan. The interest was brutal. Foreclosure notices started arriving at their house. Tyrone disappeared completely, supposedly leaving the state to dodge the men he owed. Keisha and Rodney's marriage was cracking under the strain. He was furious about her pawning her wedding ring and funneling money to her parents. Arguments turned into nights apart. All of it landed on Jasmine's shoulders, at least emotionally. She tried to be everyone's savior, but she had no more backup. I was no longer there to catch the falling pieces. One night, my phone lit up with a text from an unfamiliar number. "Are you happy now?" The message read, "My parents are losing everything. My brother is gone. My sister's marriage is over. All because you would not help." I knew immediately it was Jasmine texting from Keisha's phone. I stared at the screen for a moment, then took a screenshot and forwarded it to Paula. I did not reply to Jasmine. What was there to say that I had not already said a dozen times? Eventually, court day arrived. The courthouse in our county was an old brick building with high ceilings and uncomfortable benches. I showed up in a simple suit, Paula by my side, carrying a neat folder full of evidence. Jasmine arrived a few minutes later with an entourage, her parents, her sister, even a couple of cousins I barely recognized. They filled the hallway, whispering and staring at me like I was a villain in a movie. Harding looked confident, briefcase in hand, expression smug. Inside the courtroom, Judge Franklin took his seat. We all rose, then sat again. Harding started with a long-winded statement about how I had systematically isolated Jasmine from her family and financially abused her by withdrawing support. Paula waited patiently, her expression neutral. When it was her turn, she stood and began laying out the facts. She had prepared a spreadsheet showing 5 years of so-called family emergencies that I had covered: loan payments, rent, utility bills, the air conditioning unit, cash transfers. The total came to just over $24,000. Not a cent had been repaid. Paula then showed how I had been paying roughly 70% of our household expenses despite us both working full-time. She produced credit card statements showing over $3,000 in cash advances taken on my card in the month before I removed Jasmine as an authorized user, all withdrawn by Jasmine and handed to her family. Then came the text messages, projected neatly on a screen. Messages where Jasmine canceled plans for family stuff, messages where she asked for money for yet another emergency, and most importantly, the conversation where she wrote, "My family comes first. You are second. That is just how it is." The judge's eyebrows lifted at that one. Harding tried to spin it. "My client was in an emotionally impossible position," he said. "She was forced to choose between her husband and her family. She did the best she could." "Nobody forced her to choose," Paula replied. "She made that choice herself, explicitly. My client accepted her stated priorities and set reasonable financial boundaries as a result. He stopped paying for her family's emergencies with his personal income. That is not abuse. That is a boundary." Denise, sitting behind Jasmine, could not hold back. She started sobbing loudly. "He abandoned us when we needed him most," she cried. Judge Franklin looked up sharply. "Ma'am, you are not a party to this divorce," he said. "Be quiet or leave the courtroom." Denise clamped her mouth shut, although tears kept rolling down her face. Harding tried another angle, pushing for alimony. He argued that Jasmine had been economically dependent on me and that my withdrawal of support had destabilized her life. The judge glanced at Jasmine's income information, then at the evidence showing how my money had primarily gone to her family, not her. "The court finds that both parties are employed and capable of supporting themselves," Judge Franklin said. "No alimony will be awarded." Harding then pushed for me to pay Jasmine's legal fees. The judge shook his head. "Each party will be responsible for their own legal expenses," he ruled. In the end, the settlement was straightforward. The house would be sold and the proceeds split 50-50. Our retirement accounts would be divided according to state guidelines, and there would be no alimony and no special awards for emotional distress. Outside the courthouse, the family tried one last time. Leon approached me first. "You are really going to let us lose everything?" he asked. "We are going to be homeless. You took out loans you could not afford to cover your grown son's gambling debts," I said. "That is on you, not me. We welcomed you," Denise said, stepping forward. "We brought you into our family. You welcome my income, I said. You never once treated my needs as equal to yours. Tyrone appeared seemingly out of nowhere, thinner than before, eyes bloodshot. You think you are better than us? He asked, moving close. I think I am smarter than you, I said. You keep making the same bad choices and expecting different results. Tyrone shoved me, hard enough that I stumbled back a step. Paula moved between us immediately, already dialing courthouse security on her phone. Touch my client again, and we will file charges, she said. Security guard appeared quickly and pulled Tyrone away as he shouted threats about what he would do to me, how I would pay for this. Jasmine stood off to the side, tears streaming down her face while Denise held her. Keisha was on the phone, probably trying to figure out where her parents would live when the foreclosure went through. I walked away, keys in my hand, Leon's last words echoing after me. Karma will get you, he shouted. I did not look back. The house sold within a month. The real estate market was strong, and we got the asking price. After paying off the mortgage and closing costs, Jasmine and I each cleared about $85,000. She took her share immediately, needing the money to try to save her parents' house. I took mine and put in a savings account while I looked at condos. I did not feel triumphant. I felt free, quietly, steadily free. Through Carla, I heard what happened next. Leon and Denise's foreclosure went through. They lost their home and moved in with Keisha and Rodney, which made an already tense marriage even worse. Rodney eventually filed for divorce, tired of bearing the weight of his in-laws' financial chaos. Tyrone was rumored to be in another state, still dodging the people he owed. Jasmine got a small apartment, a studio on the edge of town. She worked 2 jobs trying to make ends meet and help her parents when she could. Her settlement money disappeared fast. Her family, once so loud and demanding, barely spoke to her anymore. Apparently, they blamed her for letting me go and ruining their financial safety net. As for me, I bought a 2-bedroom condo in the downtown area of a nearby city. It had a small balcony, a modern kitchen, and big windows that let in morning light. It was the first living space I had ever set up entirely for myself. No ugly furniture from Denise's attic. No boxes of Tyrone's belongings in the garage. No family photos of people who had never truly accepted me. I painted one wall in the living room a deep blue, hung up art I actually liked, set up my woodworking tools neatly in the 2nd bedroom when I was not using it as a guest room. My parents came to see the new place. My father walked through, nodding in approval. This feels like you, he said. My mother hugged me by the sliding glass door. Are you okay? She asked. I thought about it honestly. I think I am, I said. I feel calm. That night, I sat on the balcony with a drink and listened to the city sounds below. A car horn, distant music, footsteps on the sidewalk. No one was calling me with an emergency. No one was asking for money. It was strange and wonderful. A few months after the divorce was finalized, I started seeing someone new. Her name was Lauren Price. We met at the community center where I took woodworking classes. She taught an evening tutoring program for kids who needed extra help with reading. She was a teacher at a local middle school, patient and steady. We started as casual conversations in the hallway, comments about the weather, jokes about the vending machine always eating dollars, then coffee, then dinners. I told her about my divorce in pieces, not wanting to dump it all on her at once. One evening in my condo, after we had cooked dinner together, she asked, "Do you ever miss her?" Meaning Jasmine. I thought about it carefully. Sometimes I miss who I thought she was, I said. I miss the version of us I believed in before I saw how lopsided things really were. But I do not miss being in that situation. I do not miss feeling like a walking bank account. Lauren nodded. My brother had a similar issue with his ex-wife, she said. Different details, same pattern. He had to learn that loving someone does not mean destroying yourself for them. Lauren had her own life, her own friends, her own money, her own boundaries. When she talked about her family, it was normal things, birthday dinners, group texts with corny jokes, occasional disagreements that ended with apologies. Nobody was calling her at midnight demanding thousands of dollars. Nobody was threatening to disown her if she did not obey. Being around her felt like standing in a room with windows open after years in a closed, stuffy house. There was one last contact with Jasmine. She got a new number and texted me one night. "I hope you are happy," she wrote. "You destroyed my whole family because you would not help in an emergency." I stared at the message for a long time. I considered ignoring it, but something in me wanted to answer one last time. Your family destroyed itself. I wrote back. They treated people like ATMs. They made terrible choices for years. I just stopped participating. That is all. Good luck. I blocked the number after sending it. The conversation and the marriage were over. My therapist, Dr. Howard, asked me once during a session, "Do you feel guilty?" We sat in his office, the quiet hum of an air purifier in the background. I thought about Jasmine's tears, her parents losing their house, Tyrone's bruised face. I thought about the years of emergencies, the vacations canceled, the loans never repaid. "No," I said finally. "I do not." Dr. Howard tilted his head. "Why not?" he asked, not accusing, just curious. "Because I did not do anything wrong," I said. "They had an emergency. It was not my emergency. They had consequences for their choices. Those are not my consequences." Dr. Howard nodded slowly. "It sounds like you have processed this," he said. "You understand that boundaries are not cruelty. They are protection." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I'm just done caring about people who only cared about what I could give them." He smiled a little. "Either way," he said, "you are allowed to be done." I left his office that day lighter than I had walked in. The revenge, if you can even call it that, was not elaborate. There was no master plan, no dramatic confrontation where I exposed them in front of the world. All I did was stop. I stopped giving them money. I stopped sacrificing my peace for their chaos. I stopped letting them reorder my life every time one of them made a reckless decision. They called it abandonment. They said I ruined everything. They told each other that I destroyed the family. But the truth is simple. I just stepped away and watched what they had built collapse under its own weight. They call it selfish when you stop letting them use you. I call it self-respect. And when I go to sleep at night, in my own place, in my own bed, with no one banging on the door, no one asking for thousands of dollars, no one telling me I'm second place, I sleep just fine. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.